Awesome. Hi, everyone. How's everyone doing? I'm so glad today to have some awesome parents and a teenager with us today. I love having teens with us. And so we have, I'll introduce all of them quickly. We have Chris, who I think is in Laos right now, and Sonja currently is in, I think, Thailand, right? And then Jessica, where are you? You're in
Philadelphia.
Oh, Philadelphia. Okay. And Anneka, I think you're in Mexico, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So amazing world schoolers with us today. They're going to share with us their experiences learning via online classes, or their kids learning via online classes while world schooling. So let's go ahead and have everyone introduce themselves a little bit more. Sonja, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from? And again, you're in Thailand, how many kids you have, and what are their ages?
Yeah. Well, we're originally from the Netherlands, in Europe. I have four kids. Two are adults. They are long gone, although one of them is starting world schooling with this baby. And the other two are 9 and 13. And we are currently in Thailand for another month. And yeah, we basically do a lot of traveling between Europe, the UAE, and Asia.
Awesome. Yeah. And Sonja, I interviewed you one-on-one several months ago. So people can hopefully go find your interview in my Facebook group in the guide section. Great. Okay, Anneka, let us know where you are right now, where you're from. And I think you're 14, right?
Yeah, I'm 14. I'm from the US. I currently live in Mexico, and I've spent most of my time in either the US, Mexico, or Western Europe. I've been to a few other places as well, but mostly there.
Awesome. Yeah. And I know your mom, and I asked her the question if she wanted to be on the panel discussion, but she's like, Anneka is a better person to ask. And I love how you're self-directing your learning. So thanks for joining us. Chris, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, let
I'm
us know a bit about
originally
yourself.
from the UK. Yeah, we've got two kids, 10 and 6. We have been world schooling for just coming up to 2 years now. We started in Morocco and have been gradually moving further east. Just made it to Luang Prabang in Laos. And yeah, talk a bit more about schooling later on the panel.
Amazing. Thank you. And yeah, Chris was a little worried because in Laos, the internet, I guess, is not so great there. So he's got his camera off, but at least we have his audio. Thank you so much. All right, Jessica, let us know a little bit about yourself and your family. How many kids do you have, and what are their ages?
Hi, I'm Jessica. I'm from the US, currently in Philadelphia at home, where we are majority of the year, but outside of Philadelphia. I have two children. They are 14 and 10. And we've been world schooling in the sort of the way we do it for about, I would say, four years or so now.
Awesome. So you're part-time world schoolers. That's great. Okay, so let's see. I think you guys all mentioned how long you've been world schooling. Chris did. Sonja, you've been doing it for quite a while. Okay, Sonja, how many years?
I think about 5 years now.
5 years. Okay, and what caused your family to just take off and start traveling? What was the impetus?
Basically because our lives were really happy flow, yeah, getting a bit tedious and boring. So we decided to do something about it, and we started first in Europe, and then yeah, when everything got a little bit easier with work and that, we decided to take off out of Europe as well.
Awesome. Anneka, do you know why your family decided to leave the US and start traveling and living abroad?
Well, mostly because when I was like 7 and 8, I got really interested in history and geography, and I wanted to start traveling more. So we started traveling. We originally bought land in Mexico, and we were going to move there, but then we decided to travel rather than moving to one place.
Awesome. That's great. Chris, why did your family decide to start traveling 2 years ago?
similar reasons to Sonja, really. We wanted a bit more time together and just thought we could be happier. And some of the practicalities fell into place and we just went for it.
Awesome. Jessica, why do you guys travel part-time? What's the purpose of that?
Yeah, we really like learning in the place, so to speak. So sometimes the trip drives the interest, and sometimes the interest is driven by the sort of desire to go somewhere. But yeah, we generally spend about 4 months out of the year somewhere else. A month here, a month there, 4 times. And yeah, like I said, that's usually, my daughter had been asking to go to Egypt since she was about 7, and I just always said to myself, that's a hot place and our family doesn't do hot well. And then I finally dug in a little bit and realized that January and February are not hot. So we, yeah, and then I had my eye on all these different hubs. So we just, as one example, we went there this past February.
Oh, awesome. To the Lexer Hub?
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Let's keep with Jessica. Do your kids do online classes throughout the year or only when they're traveling?
We do, yeah. So we are homeschoolers in Pennsylvania, and so a huge part of our homeschooling tools are online classes. So we, as much as we can, continue them when we're traveling. The big time zone jumps make it a little tricky, but if I know that the trip is coming up, I try to choose a time slot that will be friendly in that destination that we have. So yeah, that coming up. We've not made huge, well, I guess the Egypt one was a big jump. We pretty much, for that month in Egypt, for example, tried to not have any online classes that were live while we were, also because we didn't know how the internet would be. So we were doing sort of asynchronous classes while we were in Egypt. Also for the purpose of not having the huge jump in time for us was, 7 hours difference.
Right.
Yeah, we've not done Asia yet. So well, we've been to Australia, but we didn't do classes while we were there. So yeah, I mean, we did Peru this summer and had a couple online classes that we maintained. We're about to go to Mexico for a month, and there's just a 1 hour time difference, so that's not huge. My girls will be in language school for the mornings while we're in Mexico, and I did sort of just an example of how making it work. I did ask the language school, 1 day a week, my daughter is going to have this class. She said, and I said they'd give us an empty classroom and she could just pop out and do her online class that she would otherwise be missing in an empty classroom. So that's sort of how
I've seen kids do classes in a car, in a train.
Oh yeah,
sitting down on the floor somewhere.
We do that all the time at home. So
yeah. So Sonja, tell us why your kids decided to do online classes versus enrolling in a full online school, or putting them in local schools around the world, or homeschooling them yourself, or unschooling them. Why do you like the online classes way for your kids to learn?
We've done all the others. So my kids started off in the Netherlands with a really small school, where a bit of an alternative school, where they were doing meditation and things like that. So that was really cool. But then we moved, and our first stop was France, and we decided to, well, at that time we didn't know about online things like schooling, so we put them in a French school and they hated it. And it was old-fashioned, kids were being screamed at, all that kind of stuff. So it wasn't very good. So then we started to look for an alternative, and we found the online school system. So we did a proper online school where they were enrolled in classes. Well, one was, and the other one was doing Galileo, which he really liked. He was quite self-directed. My youngest one is not really into school or any learning for that matter. So she liked to have the class and, have the proper thing to go to school with. And then we decided to not combine that with our our move last year to Asia, because it was a little bit difficult, like Jessica said, with times and things like that. So we decided to unschool. Was supposed to be for 3 months, but it ended up being for the full year, because the school where they were at and they could return to had dissolved into another school. So this year we had to find a different way, and we decided that it would probably be much more beneficial for my kids not to have like all the proper classes, but to have just the things that either they're interested in. Like my eldest one, he chose history, geography, and history and science, and he has to do maths because I think maths is important for kids, and I never wanted to do that anyway. So those four, and he's just doing those classes all by himself whenever he can. The classes he does, they are in the UK, so it means that here they're generally at the end of the afternoon or in the evening. And my daughter, well, she doesn't want to do anything except horse riding, which is kind of difficult online. So we have put her into the basic classes to learn English and maths, so that at least it gives her some purpose during the day, and it gives her some social interaction with other kids as well. So that's why I really like these classes.
Yeah.
And when they have things that they are really interested in, they can actually do additional classes for whatever they want to on OutSchool or whatever.
Okay, so you're signing things up on an a la carte basis by subject.
It is a la carte by subject, yes, but they do it over a longer time. So these subjects, they are not like we choose for 1 week and then something else for another. So they do it over a longer time, so that they have bigger subjects that they can actually work on.
A series. Okay, so Anneka, why do you, or what, your family, why did you guys decide that online classes is the way to go? Again, Sonja's kids attended the online school that I used to work at, and I think you used to attend, but now it's kind of become something different. So I think you're taking different online classes. Why are you guys doing that versus I don't know, like having your mom homeschool you, or unschooling, or doing a full-on online school program?
So I take the like online classes rather than any of those other things, because I prefer, so I was unschooled for a while, but I prefer more structure, so I like online classes better, and it also works better for me than having like a set like a full online school, because I like to take a lot of classes. I take 9 classes, and it just wouldn't be like if I couldn't take like that many classes, it just wouldn't be academically like demanding enough for me. I like to do a lot of school. And I prefer getting to pick like whichever classes I want, because I want to go to college, so I'm looking to like sort of check some boxes there, and I like knowing that my classes are going to fit those requirements, and I prefer having more structure.
Got it. All right, Chris, what about your family? Why is online school or classes the way for you guys versus the other alternatives?
I mean, for us, we really just use online classes as a bit of a supplement, or for areas where my wife and I just haven't got the skills to teach. So, maths we take care of in another way through largely online programs like Peter's Academy. English, the kids are so bookish and are willing to read, kind of takes care of itself. History, geography, that's cultures generally covered by the travel and online programs. There's more things like, say, my daughter got very into coding in Scratch, which was a bit beyond either of our skill sets. We found a very good class for her on that, where she could take that interest further. We've used book group just to give a bit more socialization. My youngest very into mythology, which isn't really either of our things. We've got a different voice, a different provider for that. So we just use it as a top up, as something to help feed their interests, just a different way to learn, just to shake it up for them.
Awesome. Awesome. Great. Okay. So Jessica, can you tell us, like, is there a particular platform that you use a lot for these online classes? Like, which ones are they? How did you find that class or teacher or platform? What do you use?
We use lots of different things. OutSchool we've used a lot for many years. And that's depends on I've got mine are 4 years apart. So my 10-year-old is using OutSchool for math right now, but that we sort of landed in ThinkWell for my it's a asynchronous but has videos, and you could get live support, live tutors to support you through it. So my older daughter uses ThinkWell for math. We use Homeschool Spanish Academy for Spanish. Those are live teachers from Guatemala. We somehow some homeschool saw a lot of people recommending this woman who was in North Carolina and teaches geography. She has all these geography degrees, and everyone was raving about her. So both of them are taking a geography class right now live. It's a whole year class. So they meet once a week with her, and that's geography, and they love it. She's great. So my eldest does a high school level class, and my 10-year-old does an elementary level class. We use Dayla Learning for ELA. How do we find her? I don't remember, but she's great. I really love that. Well, it's all sorts of covers all ELA and all different angles, and she gives fabulous feedback. And history, and we usually do that. That's the one thing I still teach one-on-one with my kids, and by teach I mean we do a lot of learning before we go somewhere or after we leave somewhere, or so right now we're really digging into the Maya civilization. That we all love to we snuggle on the couch and read a lot of stuff about the Maya, and we obviously did that for 6 months before we went to Egypt last year. So that's kind of what we do. I think I covered most subjects there.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, OutSchool. I interviewed a representative from OutSchool a few months ago, so that is in my guide section of my Facebook group, and
and she's a great teacher. We have had her a few times, and we love her.
Yeah. I mean, she's a teacher too, plus she's a road schooling mom, plus she's a representative for them. So
right.
Yeah, she was great to interview. Sonja, tell us about the online classes that your kids take. Is there a certain platform? You mentioned it's UK based, or do you do like very a la carte all over the place?
No, so for the basic ones that we have that are ongoing, we have found a school that lets us pick and choose the subjects that we want. So it is like an online school, but not with a set of classes, but like pick and choose classes.
What's the name of the company?
It's Cambridge International Online, I think.
Okay.
Online school or something like that. I can send you the link, then you can post it. So we do that, and my son, he does a lot of classes and tutorials and things like that that he finds on YouTube, especially because he's into all kinds of designs and AI and God knows what else, right. Coding and that. So he does all that himself. And then, of course, we have OutSchool for things that they are particularly interested in, that they want to do. So, and yeah, usually if they have something that they're really interested in, I just go online and see what I can find that fits the purpose.
Okay, great. All right. So Anneka, we want to know about these 9 classes you're taking. Where are they from? Are they individual classes? Are they part of a series? Let us know about it. What company?
So all of my classes are individual classes. Most of them are from Royal Fireworks Press, which is a printing press that also offers some online classes. And I take math there, and history, geography, English. I take 2 English classes from there. And also a chess class. And then I also take 2 classes from OutSchool. Oh wait, no, 3 classes from OutSchool, which is another math class, a science class, and a Japanese class. And I also sometimes, so outside of my classes, I also self-study for AP tests, and sometimes I do tutoring sessions on Outschool for those if I need help with something. So I mostly take my classes from Outschool and Royal Flower Express.
Amazing. Wonderful. Okay, great. Chris, what about your kids? What kind of programs do they use? Platforms, teachers? How do you find them? All that good stuff.
We've used a bit of a mix over the years. So we've had a long relationship with an italki teacher called Nisreen, who teaches both the kids and actually the parents Arabic. She's been very good since about a year and a half now. We've found a teacher we actually used even before we started Worldschooling on an organisation called London Art Enthusiasts, who do lots of primarily sketching for my eldest, but all sorts of different art groups. They're mainly pre-recorded and you can nip in. There's even some free ones on YouTube actually, which is pretty good. But like everyone else, I think we've used Outschool on occasions, but we keep coming back to an organisation called £2 Tuition Hub, who do these little blocks of 5 courses, and they're just great for just feeding a little interest. Say like my son's also into the Mayas, coincidentally enough, Jessica, and he just wanted to learn more about the Mayas. We put in this little block of courses, and when we've got a free hour somewhere with a good connection, we could just sit down and work through that.
Yeah, I've heard about the £2 platform. Is it really only £2 per class, or does it vary?
No, it's always 2. So you pay £10 for a block of 5 classes. And that's pretty much the business plan. So if inflation continues like this, they're going to have to rebrand, I think.
Rebrand. I know, £3 exactly. Right. Wow, that's great. Okay, great. All right, wait, Jessica, did you answer this question? I forget. You mentioned some, right? Okay, so the next question then, Jessica, is, and then all of you, are these classes live and synchronous? Are they pre-recorded, asynchronous? Are they group classes? Are they one-on-one? Like, what is the format?
Yeah.
All of them.
All of that for us. Yeah, I mean, right now I've got, my youngest is doing one asynchronous math and a live math. The oldest is doing asynchronous math with optional live support if needed, that she can schedule herself a tutor if she has a question about what's going on that week. Group live classes for geography and group live for something else. So my oldest has there's a platform, it's called Rise Out. I don't know if anyone else if you've got teens, they only do teens, but they're fabulous. They're based in the US. And yeah, my teen is doing my dog is joining us. My teen is doing a health, social, emotional health class. That's fabulous with them, and also a science class with them, and those are asynchronous with optional tap-in office hours that are live with other students, and they're Spanish or one-on-one live. Yeah, so a real mix.
Awesome. Sonja, live classes, recorded, group classes, one-on-one, what kind of things do you guys do?
Mostly live, except of course when my son is looking for his tutorials and things like that. They're all pre-recorded, but all the classes we do is live.
Okay. Anneka, what about you?
All my classes are live group classes, except for when I do the one-on-one tutoring, which I just book as I need it, and I don't do that very often.
Okay. Chris, what about you guys?
Bit of a mix for us. I mean, pre-recorded is a lot logistically easier, and you don't have to worry about the time zones so much. But if you do want the interaction, the two-way feedback, you've got to go for live. But yeah, we have ended up cocking up several due to not understanding the time zones or just getting our timing a bit wrong, and have to try and start a class in the back of a taxi or something ridiculous like that. So.
Yeah, that is so tough as a world schooler because we're so nomadic, and I think asynchronous can be really good. But again, you want the interaction with the teacher and maybe the other students. So it's better to have it live, but then sometimes we have to wake up in the middle of the night. We do have some people watching and we have some questions. Let's see, Julie is asking, who's the geography teacher? So I'm hoping all of you, if you're in my group, my Facebook group, you can maybe put the link if you can. That would be great. And Sade says, wow, 9 classes. That's for you, Anneka. Let's see, Julie's asking a lot of questions, or she's saying, we did outschool class from an IKEA living room in St. Louis while on the road from Mexico City to Minneapolis. That's funny. Bonnie, has that happened to you? Bonnie says, with 5 kids, I found they all need different things with learning methods. My 11-year-old son is not enjoying school in Bali. Has had no interest in learning the language, and forcing him is not something we want to do. So looking at unschooling him with potential online classes or courses that interest him. Yeah, I think that is a good thing. I mean, it's nice to sometimes enroll your kids in local schools. My kids went to a school in Peru for a while and one in Mexico. And then of course they've done online school. So yeah, whatever works. And Julie says, your experience with live online versus asynchronous plus live assistance. My daughter has only done live. Rise out, we'll check them out. Gracias, Jessica. P.S. Where are you in Mexico? Okay, Julie's in Mexico City. Anyway, please go to the group and connect with Julie. I interviewed her before. She's fantastic. So
I don't see a chat to put the link. Is it something different with a live?
Yeah, later on, coming in my Facebook group, Worldschooling, traveling. Anyway, I'll send you guys a link and you can join it and then answer the questions later. We don't have to do it. Okay. So let's talk about how either you or your kids or you, Anneka, how you organize your learning time. So is it, certain, like in the morning time you have them, they're kind of sprinkled throughout the day. How do you do that when you want to go out sightseeing maybe, or go hang out with friends? How do you organize that? Sonja, you want to go first?
Sure. So because we are doing the UK time for the classes, it means that while we are here in Asia, it's in the afternoon and evening. But then again, I have to work as well. So that means for my European clients, I'm working the same time zone. So we're basically just staying at home and doing the classes and work and everything. But if we want to go out, they do record the classes so they can do it afterwards. So it is kind of flexible there, but we do try and stick to that. I do prefer the European time zone when we are in Europe. So because then it's in the morning, the afternoon's free.
So you have your mornings free, and then like afternoon to evening are work and school time. Got it. Anneka, what about you?
I usually try to do most of my homework in the mornings, but my classes are mostly spaced out throughout the day, especially on Mondays and Wednesdays. I have my earliest classes are at noon, and then my latest class on Wednesday doesn't end till 8. And I have a few hours in between each one. So those days it's kind of difficult to do things outside of classes, but on Friday I don't have any live classes, so I'm pretty much free all day and I can do my homework around whatever we're doing on Friday. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays I have classes mid-afternoon, so I can do things in the morning or in the evening. And I can always, if I miss a class, all my classes are recorded, so I can always do it later.
That is really good. Awesome. Chris, what about you? How do you organize your day with all the classes?
So we prioritize the travel, basically. So the classes come in on rest days or rest periods. If we've got a free afternoon, if the kids want to do it, but it's, the journey, the travel, the making the most of the destinations is the priority.
Awesome. That's great. Jessica, what about you guys?
I'll piggyback on what Chris just said. Since ours is part-time world schooling anyway, we're definitely prioritizing, if we're away from home for a month, we definitely prioritize being there. For example, we were just in Peru for a month, and the girls were in local schools for half the day, and then did cultural workshops with our other families we were with for the afternoons. So that was for sure the priority. My oldest daughter just in terms of muscle memory, we try not to let too much time go by without doing math. So we just in the evenings try to especially with my 5th grader, remind of multiplication facts and, go over some, just because I feel like certain things disappear quickly at that when you're trying to memorize multiplication or remember how to do long division or fractions or whatever. And my oldest hadn't actually finished her program for the year, so she was doing algebra while we were in Peru. But so yeah, we definitely prioritize where we are. We've been joining in with hubs, so we've had a program that we were in, or half the day, full day, depends where we were. So we would just sort of do the asynchronous, try to, get out of the live ones for the moment and just do asynchronous, a couple things in the evenings, just to, like I said, keep up some muscle memory, at least on the math.
Okay, got it. And then how many hours a day are you spending, or maybe we should say hours a week, because I think, Anneka, you got more classes on Mondays and Wednesdays. Typically how many hours a week, Anneka, you answer that question, are you spending in the live class and then also with your homework?
So my live classes, they're all an hour long, so that's 9 hours a week. And then for each class, I usually have about 30 minutes to an hour of homework per week. And then with the APs that I self-study, I usually do 3 of them each day, and I spend about 30 minutes to an hour on each one.
Okay, got it. Sonja, what about you?
For the little one, for her, the classes are about 30 minutes long, and she has a few every day. So I think she's about one and a half to 2 hours doing classes. And then, well, she should be doing about an hour's homework, let's say it that way. And then for the older one, he has 1 hour classes, and I think he has, well, it's slightly better divided now. So I think it's about 2 to 3 hours a day, and then whatever he spends on his homework, I have no idea. He does it by himself.
Okay.
But he does do his homework.
All right. And Chris, what about your kids? How many hours a day or hours a week are they spending on all their learning work?
So I mean, like I was saying earlier, the online classes are very much a supplement. So for the online classes, it's probably, I'd have thought 3 to 4 hours a week would be a busy week for us on the online classes. But that's with the English and maths as the core, sort of ticking by without the classes.
Right. And tell me again, I forgot the age of your kids.
My youngest is 6 and my oldest is 10.
Yeah, so they're not like Anneka, who's like 14, teenager, like looking at university yet, right? So that's great. Jessica, what about your kids?
I would say they're probably a couple hours a day on live classes, and then maybe, like I said, one's 10 and one's 14, so they've got different workloads. And that varies too when we're at home, like we are now. We're between our months out, and they'll have a lot more now than they do when we were just in Peru for a month, or when we're in Mexico for a month, so.
Right. It's so funny because real school is what, 6, 7, 8 hours a day, depending. And then when the pandemic hit and they were doing the whatever online pandemic school, whatever you want to call it, it wasn't like a nice way to do it. They were still trying to do it 6, 7, 8 hours a day, including for 6-year-olds, like little kids. And most homeschoolers and online schoolers only spend a handful of hours a day. I mean, it depends on the age. Obviously the older kids, spend more time, and if you're really into coding, you're spending 10 hours a day coding, but it doesn't take that many hours a day to do your learning work. And you're probably getting a better education, I would think, than kids in a traditional school there's so many distractions there, right? Okay, so Anneka, I want to ask you, how do you stay motivated to keep up with all the classes that you're taking?
I don't really know. I just really enjoy all of them. I think I've pretty much always really liked school, and especially like being able to pick classes that really interest me. Like my current history class, I had the same teacher last year, and he suggested the topic of this class as like oh, I would love to teach this class, but I don't think anyone would take it. And we were all like, no, I need that class. And we're all in that class now this year. So like, it's just like wanting to be in the classes, and also like sort of with the thing with my history class, being in classes with people who want to be there, because everyone in my classes wants to be there, and it just makes a huge difference.
Amazing. Wonderful. Okay, so I want to ask the parents, and then we can ask Anneka later. So Sonja and Chris, I muted you because you seem to have a little background noise. So unmute you yourself when you start talking. And Jessica, I want to know, are you keeping track of your kids' learning work at all? I mean, I don't think it's important until they're like high school age, but are you maybe for university transcripts for universities? Are you a member of any umbrella schools? Are you keeping track? If anyone is, just raise your hand and start speaking, or Chris start. Okay, Jessica, go ahead.
So ours is in 9th grade this year. So we just started that thinking, or maybe a year ago. They just passed a law in PA that we're allowed to take classes at our local high school. So in order to do that, my daughter is taking advantage of that and taking a couple electives this year when we're term electives between traveling. That was the only thing that would work for us. So she doesn't have a full like core class or anything at the local high school. But anyway, so I had to produce a transcript for 8th grade and 7th grade in order to enroll her. So I had to do that. That was the first time. But
so
yeah,
you
we're
through
definitely
all your records of all the online classes and said, okay, they did this and this and this.
Yeah, I mean, some of it's a little like, well, we went to a bunch of performances and we did some art classes and we did this, and I'm gonna give that a credit for, fine and performing arts study. And I mean, try to be sort of, realistic with how many hours. And okay, 60 hours, that's half a credit, whatever.
Yeah.
So started to wrap my head around keeping that together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. And Sonja, are you keeping track of your kids' learning? Are they at that point yet? I guess the Cambridge program probably keeps track, right?
They do keep track, true. I don't keep track. Also don't really believe in the traditional learning ways, and I do think that if my eldest, because my youngest has no interest in school whatsoever, so that's if my oldest, he's a little bit like Anneka, so if he wants to go to university or whatever he wants to do, I'm sure that we'll find a way to get him there. But for now, we don't keep specific track or register it in any way.
Okay. And Anneka, you have mentioned that you want to go to university, and I mean, anyone not want their kids to go to university? And Chris, if you want to talk, you can unmute yourself. So everyone wants their kids to go to university. Anneka wants to go.
Eventually, but I've actually told my daughter I will not pay for her to go to university when she's 18.
Oh, okay.
So I said, I'll buy you a round the world ticket, or I'll do anything, but my opinion is there's few kids that have the drive and the interest to warrant whoever is spending the money, government, parent, kid, whoever, scholarship money, when you're 18.
Yeah,
I said, I think you need to take a few gap years, and maybe then I'll help you pay for college.
Good idea. Yeah, I mean, I guess some people think that we world schoolers are taking many gap years. But, again, we're hacking it. We're doing that. Plus, we're working. Plus, we're doing online school and learning. And there's so many things that we can do together because thanks to the internet. Let's talk about the cost for these online classes. Is there an annual fee, Sonja, that you're paying, or a payment per class? Roughly, what does it cost you?
No, we pay per month, but you can do it annually. But we just like the fact that we can choose every month if we want to do something different or go to a different school, whatever. But we pay, I think it's about, for my son, it's about 3,000 pounds a year for his 4 classes, and for my daughter, something like 1,800 for her 3.
That's not too bad. Anneka, do you know what your parents or you are spending on these classes?
I know that my parents pay for each of my classes individually. It depends. The cost of my classes vary a lot. The outschool ones are a lot less expensive than the Royal Fireworks Press ones. I think mostly the average is probably about $500 per semester per class. But they vary a lot depending on where they're from. And with Royal Fireworks Press, some teachers are more expensive than others. I think the teachers might set their own prices because they vary a lot.
Yeah. Okay, so you're getting a series of classes for that $500, right?
Yeah, it's for a class, 1 class per week for a semester.
Okay, got it. All right, Chris, you want to mention what you pay? You pay £2 for that £2 website. Any other things that you guys use? How much do you pay for those?
Yeah, so as you say, the £2 tuition hub's pretty self-explanatory. On italki, Outschool, and London Art Enthusiasts, we all tend to hover around sort of $10 an hour for what we choose.
Okay, sounds good. Jessica, do you know what you guys are spending?
I did look at it, just if my daughter were to decide to go to high school full time, how much money we'd be getting back. And I just did some really rough math because she has said, she might like to go check out high school for a year, and that would be fine. I mean, our travel lifestyle would take a hit, but if she really wanted to give it a shot, but I do appreciate the PA law that just happened so that she can just take little bites and we can still fit in some travel. But I feel like I added she does theater, which is a little pricey, this local theater program she does, but I want to say for the year, I got up somewhere near $8,000 for all the different classes.
Okay, so in the US, it's about the average student in the US is about $17,000 a year, and it's a little high compared to other countries. And it depends, because if you're in Washington, D.C. versus a rural area, I mean, there's a big variance, right? So obviously private schools are quite expensive, 60,000, some of them 20,000. I mean, it depends. So I think when people are homeschool and they're paying for these classes, they're freaking out about how expensive they are. But and obviously the brick and mortar schools have a football stadium, they have buildings, they have the teachers, the benefits, all of that. Whereas online, it's a little bit more, I don't know, efficient. But yeah, there is a cost. And luckily, I wish, more states were like Arizona. Arizona will give each family something like $4,000 or $6,000, and they can pay for private school, online schools, charter schools, homeschool materials. And I think British Columbia, I mean, there's certain places around the world where the state or the province or whatever lets families spend their education tax dollars. And I wish more would do it. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because it is a little difficult. I mean, just because we decide that the public school isn't right for us, we want to do it a different way. A lot of us are paying still for the taxes, right? So we should get something. Right. Okay, so let's talk about Anneka, if you can mention the requirements that the universities you're trying to meet. Have you already looked at which universities you want to apply to, or are you just kind of generally trying to tick the boxes and make sure you have enough language arts and math and all of that?
I do have an idea of what school I want to go to, but I'm mostly just ticking boxes in general. And I think I have like more credits in most subjects than I would need for any school. So I'm not really worried about the amount that I have because I take so many classes. I think at this point I have including this year, I think after this year I'll have 5 high school level math credits. So like I'm not really worried about the amount of credits. I just make sure that I have like a wide range of classes so that I'm not missing any areas.
Great. Anyone else looking at university yet and the requirements and like working backwards yet? And I have interviewed other parents on this topic. Colleen Mariotti got two of her, she's American, but they have dual citizenship in Italy. And they took 2 years of community college classes online, American community college classes, and her American kids got an associate's degree and they entered very competitive universities in the Netherlands, so there's lots of different ways to get into university. And coming up in a few weeks, I will have a panel of parents and either teenagers or, grown world schoolers who have gotten into university to talk about how to get in. So watch that topic if you want to watch it or you're concerned. Let's talk about just overall the advantages, the pros of taking online classes while world schooling. Sonja, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think that's the pros are definitely that they can be sparked by the interest of the child, so they can choose whatever they are into, and what I find with my oldest, that it's really easy if they are really interested in certain things to have them do their own schooling and they're self-directed. And for us as parents, it's really easy because we don't have to do anything. They just do it by themselves. So I think that's a good thing. And for us personally, going to live classes also means that they have social interaction with other children, with the teacher. So, we do find that when we are world schooling, sometimes, well, a lot of the time, it's hard to find other families and to have that social interaction that they really crave for.
Yeah, when my girls attended that online school that you guys have gone, it was during the pandemic, and that saved us. And so many other kids were so sad and so unsocialized. Okay, great. Let's see. What are the pros for you, Anneka, online schools or online classes? Sorry.
I think this is kind of similar to what Sonja was saying, but mostly that I can pick whatever classes I want. Like at the beginning of each school year, basically what I do is I make a spreadsheet. I gather all of the classes that I want to take, and I price them all out, and my parents like to see like the cost per week and the cost for the year. So I do that, and then I send it to them, and then they'll be like, you can take all of them, but maybe not this one, and maybe take this one next semester or next year. And that's basically how I decide what classes I take. And also just the fact that all of the kids want to be there, and it makes a huge difference that everybody is interested in the classes. And this is even like, I feel like kids are more engaged than in online school, like in Galileo, because there were still kids who you could tell they didn't want to be there. Their parents were making them go to this class. Mm-hmm. But when it's more a la carte, there's really, I don't think in any of my classes, a kid who I'm like, this person doesn't want to be here.
Amazing. Anneka, I swear, you should become a tutor for other teenagers, other world schoolers. I mean, you're so organized and so self-directed with your learning. I need to have you talk to my 14-year-old, because, I feel like I do a lot of it. And I say, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? What do you think of this? They are taking a marine science class with Cicero Learning, both my twins, with one teacher, and they love it. They did they dissected a frog, not a frog, a squid, all sorts of cool things. But it was always me starting it, like, what do you think of this? And then they would agree or not agree. And it seems like you're taking kind of the parent's role and, taking charge. I love it. Chris, I'm going to ask you to unmute if you can. Do you want to mention any of the advantages for your family for taking online classes?
It's really just echoing what other people have said. There's such a wide variety out there. You can play to interests and really choose things they want to learn and know more about. And the socialization, that's probably the big challenge of this lifestyle for us, is socialization for all of us. And it's a good way to get and meet people with similar interests and have a bit of peer contact.
Wonderful. Yeah. And I know, Jessica, your kids have gone to World School Hubs. And so I mean, that's how we socialize. And we go to places where a lot of World Schoolers and expats and locals are, obviously. But Jessica, what would you say for your family are the pros of taking online classes?
Yeah, first I was thinking the same thing you said about Anneka. Maybe you could, I imagine you developing a parallel course to the one Lizz does for parents. It could, how to world school, and you could do for the teens how to
Yes.
Yeah,
Kick
so
butt
very
on
impressive.
learning.
Also was thinking you could give my 14-year-old some support. Yeah, echoing everyone else, we like to, although sometimes I really wish I could just have one platform do it all the things and just know everything's in one place, but ultimately it's a better learning experience that we've had when we can sort of chase the teacher, so to speak, or chase the class we've had a really good experience with. My 14-year-old considered for a while, there's a performing arts school near here in person, but in order to participate in that twice a week, you need to be part of a cyber school. And all the feedback we got was everyone, you know, kind of really loves the performing arts school and puts up with the cyber school. And just because you have to take the teacher they give, you know, it's the whole school, and you have to take the teacher they give you and take the classes they want you to take and take it's all online, but you'd have to do all, you know, that wouldn't really work for us. Yeah, we like being able to follow the teacher that we've really managed to find and really appreciate their style.
Yeah. Okay. So are there any disadvantages, any cons? I mean, you're glowing, saying these wonderful things. Speak up if there is something that you don't like about online classes. Maybe showing up when you're busy, you know, that's a little bit of a challenge, right? If it's live and synchronous. Any others?
I'll jump in and say, yeah, for sure. The time zone thing, when we shift time zones, it makes it tricky. And, you know, my husband's French, so we go to France a lot. And, yeah, that's always and we go during school year times. We go in the middle of March and we go beginning of September. So those are we're often having class at 10 p.m. while we're there, because I just couldn't help but get them the class that they're going to have for the whole year. And it's at 4 p.m. at home. And then we go to France for 3 weeks and it's at 10 p.m.
Yeah, I do know OutSchool has teachers in the US, Canada, UK, parts, and Australia too. So I don't know, maybe find classes with them. Any other disadvantages? Nope, I guess everything's good. Okay, let me check to see for questions. We do have Nelia here. She's from Australia. Oh, wait. Oh, I lost her thing. She's based in Australia. I'm wondering if completion certificates are something that are important, such as IB or senior secondary certificate and so forth. So Nelia, there's multiple ways, and this is really only if you want to go to university, because if you don't, it doesn't really matter. But for Americans, Canadians, UK, Australians, I think a lot of countries where homeschooling is legal, a parent can create their own transcripts. You can do that. You can also enroll in an umbrella school. And I interviewed the founder of West River Academy. I really like them because they're good for natural learners, aka unschoolers, and they take what your kids are learning and put it on their transcripts, and they are accredited. And eventually you would get a US high school diploma, and they have students in 150 countries. So it's not just American. And there's other umbrella schools. And again, some high school, secondary school age kids can take online community college classes in the US. Even if you're not American, you have to pay for it and then earn an associate's degree. That is a great way, because you've got like third-party, you know, grades from a university. I mean, a small college, but they are good for other bigger universities. So I hope I answered that. And anyone want to jump in there? And she also said they have announced that Queensland and Australia will go down to 4-day a week from next year in the public schools. Good. I think all of them should, really. Julie says we're looking at umbrella schools, one that encourages keeping a portfolio, which I like, yes. Or perhaps a homeschooling template that I can do. The idea is, oh God, these things keep jumping when somebody else makes a post. The idea is eventually she goes to university in the US. Yes. Okay, and then Nelia asked, I'm wondering if your kids receive grades for their online classes. Let's talk about that. Good question. Or satisfactory, unsatisfactory. So any grades that go with these classes? Jessica, go ahead, and Anneka. But first, Jessica.
For my teen, as we've gotten closer, the last couple of years, the classes she's been taking have started offering a graded option. So there's I guess because as she's gotten closer to high school, it's been a demand or a request. So it just seems to be something that's offered now. Most of her classes that we've taken, you can pay a little extra for her work to be graded, if you like, or it can be, and you can decline that option.
Okay, great. Anneka, are your classes graded?
Yeah, all of my classes are graded. I think there's an option to not have anything graded, but I don't think that any students in any of my classes, I think all of them have their work graded. Usually the teacher will ask, like, at the beginning of the class, does anyone not want to be graded? And then I have like a folder on my computer where I keep a subfolder for each class, and I'll put like my grades in there, and if I have any graded work, I'll try to put it in the folder. Sometimes it doesn't always make it there, or like homework, I try to keep it all together so that my mom can turn it into a transcript more easily. But yeah, all of my classes are graded.
Wonderful. Yeah, I think again, creating transcripts or getting graded, creating a portfolio, very good point, Julie. A lot of universities love homeschoolers, they love world schoolers. And if you could show them a portfolio above and beyond your grades, that will help a lot. And also I wanted to mention Arizona State University is free. If you live in Arizona, you can attend, they have Arizona University Prep Digital. You can attend while you're in high school. Actually, they even have an elementary school program. So they have online schools for them, and you can also earn credits. So that is a good one. And I'm hoping to interview someone from that school. Chris, did you want to mention anything? I mean, your kids are a bit younger, but any thing to add from what we were talking about? As far as like keeping tracks and grades and all that? Sorry?
I mean, we as parents like to sort of check curriculum every now and then, see whether they are sort of roughly keeping up with their peers if we ever needed to reintegrate. But no, we don't really feel the need to be grading them at this stage.
Got it. That's awesome. Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you, everyone. And then I was wondering if any of you had any social media that you wanted to share, please come into my Facebook group later and post your Instagram, if you have a website, YouTube, whatever channels you have. It would be great so then people can follow your adventures. And yeah, this is wonderful. And I guess my final question before we go are you happy the way your kids are learning, or Anneka, you've been learning the years that you've been world schooling? Would you do anything differently? Maybe Jessica, you go first.
Yeah, we're pretty happy with the way things are. The umbrella school, I just only recently been sort of learning about that, and I know it's not the place to get into that, but it seems a little appealing to me to pay someone, it seems like a nominal fee, to take care of keeping track of things and creating transcripts for me. So
yeah, check out West River Academy, my interview with Peggy Webb. I think they're only $375 a year for the first student, and then $50 for the second student. And that you can't just join them your senior year of high school. They do want you to go for a little while, because, you know, of course, then you could just go and, hey, give me a diploma.
Right.
Yeah, they're fantastic. They've been around since the mid 90s or late 90s. So wonderful. So yeah, please join my Facebook group, and you can just answer any other specific questions and post your social media and all of that good stuff. But yeah, this was a great discussion. Thank you so much. And yeah, I think online classes, I am so grateful for the internet for so many reasons, but especially that we can learn. And, you know, I feel like there's so many wonderful teachers in brick and mortar schools, but the internet, you can get like fantastic teachers that are really good at what they do, and they can teach it to a small group, or if they record it, they can teach it to millions, right? I mean, that's kind of what Khan Academy did. They recorded stuff and they grew it. And now, I mean, I don't know how many millions of students are taking their classes. And, you know, you don't need to just sit in a classroom and have a teacher that might be great, might be mediocre, just teach the same stuff. It would be better to just do it online and find an excellent teacher. Don't you agree?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Thank you. Any last minute thoughts that you guys have, Chris or Sonja, Anneka, Jessica? No? Okay. You guys are an awesome panelist, and thanks so much for the discussion.
Thanks, Liz.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. I'm Lizz Quain. My twins and I have been traveling and world schooling for about 7 years, and I'm happy to share our experiences. Make sure to check out all the other videos on my channel. I have a playlist of interviews of fascinating world school families and service providers who share lots of info and wisdom about world schooling, traveling, and the digital nomad family lifestyle. If you're new to world schooling or have recently launched and are struggling because you're kind of winging it, if you need some help, I do have a super comprehensive 12-week program on how to world school and travel extensively as a family. I share lots of info on travel logistics, where to go, how to find community, how to immerse yourself into local cultures, and the variety of ways to educate your kids while traveling above and beyond homeschooling them yourself, and much, much more. Make sure to watch my free 2-hour masterclass on how to become a world schooling trailblazing family. That is a great way to learn how to get started. I'll include a link in the description with more info. Thanks and happy trails.